Well, welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese. And yes, we are here, boys. It's a sad time. It's the final week of the NFL season. But you know what? As sad as that is, the playoffs are coming. And look who's trying to run the table again. That's right. Gil's Packers trying to run the table. Although Aaron Rodgers said this week he was trying to keep it quiet. He didn't want to go out and say it. He wanted to keep it quiet that he was going to run the table. But
Well,
as
he they
as
told him when he was 4-3, they only had a 1% chance, and they said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Yeah, we're still in there." And there they are on destiny.
So there you go. Gil has a play in, and you're in game on Sunday night against the Lions. No gimme, that's for sure. But we'll see what happens there. But as far as our picks go, Gil Santos has made a run for the ages as he went 12-3 again to pull
I just
within
pulled the
one game
Packers.
of
I just
Jose.
pulled the
So
Packers. I
Gil,
just ran. I just ran the table on Jose.
yeah, Gil's doing exactly what this Packers are doing. They're trying to run the table. I am now 9 back, I believe, or possibly 10 back. I'm not exactly sure. I think I'm 10 back. Um, and so here we are, final week of the season. Please like, please subscribe. Please let us know what you think of the show, guys. But we are going to start with our week 17 picks. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Buffalo Bills player, Mr. Hamlin. We hope he's okay. Had a cardiac arrest in the field. They had to suspend the Buffalo Cincinnati game last week. I have heard today that he is taking a turn for the better. So I hope that he's okay, and they'll figure out the game after because that really doesn't matter at this point, despite how important the game is. But let's get into our picks. Um, Last week, Jose was 9-6. Gil was 12-3. I was 10-5. So I'm having good weeks, but the guys are outdoing me. They're kicking my butt. So, all right. So here we go with week 18. We'll start with no Thursday night game this week. We're going to go to Saturday as the Kansas City Chiefs, who somehow find a way to win these weird games. They really had a hard time with Denver last week as Russell Wilson all of a sudden got rid of his coach and decided he wanted to play, but Gil's team was already out, so it's too late. They go to take on Vegas, who started Jarrett Stidham, made Josh McDaniel look good, which means he gets to keep his job, and also exposed our 49ers defense, which I'll get to later. But for now, Gil, who do you like in this one?
I'm gonna have to take the Chiefs. It looks their car is gone. Stratton played well though. I'll
Yeah,
get to him, but now you got Jacobs pretty much officially saying he's leaving. He's done with the Raiders. So I don't even think he'll play the next because he made it kind of official that he's not sticking around. Said he's
Adams
had
might not
enough.
be too far behind. Adams looks like he wants to go too.
Adams just tried to probably wait for the Packers to pick him up for the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, so just judging by that, I think the Raiders, a lot of their key players are giving up on that team. They're going back to the rebuilding stage for next year, or they're gonna go and waste a lot of money on free agents, one or the other.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs are still playing for that first seed, so I think the Chiefs bang them off by halftime, and then in comes the backups.
Jose.
Chiefs in this one. I think they're gonna kill them. The Raiders last week played a good game. They still have the weapons. They're still gonna play for pride, and these guys, the salaries and stuff like that. Like a lot of guys still have bonuses to play for and stuff. So, but KC's playing for that number one spot, so I'm taking KC.
I'll take Kansas City, but it will be a close game because every time the Raiders play Kansas City, it's a close game. You'll recall the Raiders went for a 2-point conversion in Kansas City and lost by a point. This will be close. They must have seen something in Jarrett Stidham, the former New England quarterback, for them to bench Derek Carr. And boy, oh boy, did they come up with something. But we'll get into why that happened when we talk about the 49ers later. But I've got Kansas City clinching the number one seed, or at least coming close to it, because I'm not sure how the tiebreakers work with the Bills. But I think KC wins this one. To a win or go home game number 2. We have Gil's game later on that we'll talk about, but now we have Tennessee, who is starting. You might have to help me out here, Gil. Some guy named Dobbs. Do you know who this is?
Joy Dobbs, yeah, he's not that great. He's nothing
Okay.
special.
Okay. So some guy named Dobbs is facing the red hot Jacksonville Jaguars. Jose, who do you got?
Everybody's downgrading Tennessee. They've been resting their players for this game. Last week, Henry didn't play for this game, so I'm taking Tennessee in an upset.
Yo.
I don't know if I don't know. It's iffy for me because I see what Jose's saying. This might be a Henry type game because it ain't gonna be Dobbs. And Trevor Lawrence, as good as he's been playing, he can also have that odd game and screw everything up easily. Saint Denis is probably the key for that Jaguar game. Um, I just don't see Tennessee doing it just off the running game by itself. Like they need some sort of quarterback to help out a play action, and this guy can't throw. I've seen him play. He might prove me wrong, but I have to stick with the Jacksonville Jaguars and they'll get it done.
I'm going to take the Jags. I watched Jacksonville destroy this team 36-22 in Tennessee, despite the fact that Derrick Henry had a 100-yard rushing game. It won't be enough. Tennessee does not have any weapons. They've got Henry and everybody else. Jacksonville wins this game and goes on to the playoffs. To the number one seed game. And when I say number one seed, I mean number one pick in the draft. The Houston Texans take on the Indianapolis Colts for the right to pick number one in the draft. Who loses this one, or for our purposes, who wins this one, Gil?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna
The
say
loser gets the
Houston.
number one pick.
I think Houston's gonna win though. I have a feeling Houston's gonna win. It's just been bad. The Colts, it's gonna be. I feel the ball's at the 20 and they won't even kick a field goal to make sure they don't win the game because they really need to regroup. They need that number one draft pick. Then again, so does Houston. But Mills to me has more pride. It's still their quarterback. He's still fighting for a job for next year. As the job's up for grabs, right? So
Yeah.
I think Houston will end up winning based off Mills still trying to keep his spot for next year.
Jose.
It's a tough game, but I'm gonna go based on Indy doesn't need the first round pick because regardless they'll get a top 3 pick and they'll get a good quarterback regardless. Houston, there's a lot of injuries. A lot of key guys are not going to be playing for them. Indy is same thing, but I see Indy having more. I don't know. I'm just going to take Indy. Whatever.
All right, I'm going to take Houston. Houston has at least shown a pulse in the last few weeks. They gave Dallas a battle. They beat Tennessee in Tennessee, putting a dent in their playoff hopes. Jacksonville gave it to them last week, but at least Houston showed a pulse. I've seen nothing from Indianapolis since that blown lead against Minnesota. I believe they're going to start Ellinger this week, and he's terrible. So I got Houston. To a game that could decide the number 1 and number 2 seeds as Minnesota, who we rightfully claimed were frauds last week and got absolutely pumped by Green Bay. We'll get into that on what's bothering us. They go to Chicago to take on the Bears. Since Gil's a big fan of this division, we'll ask him first who he likes in this one.
Well, no Fields, no hope for Chicago. This is an easy
Correct.
Minnesota game. I probably see a blowout at Chicago, especially with Fields not even there. So
Yeah.
I even think Minnesota should be a lock to cover the spread.
Yeah. Jose.
Yeah, Minnesota should win. No Fields, no hope.
Yeah, same here. Minnesota, no Fields, no hope. And Minnesota clinches the 2 seed, unfortunately for us, our 49ers. To a game that will affect both teams, maybe one more than the other, but Baltimore, who just found a way to lose to freaking Pittsburgh at home last week. Just an embarrassment. They go to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, who may or may not be playing for the number 1 seed. We'll find out because of this game that got suspended. We're not sure. But nonetheless, Jose, who do you got in this one?
Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's is rolling. Ravens without Lamar Jackson stand no chance. Huntley garbage. Last week, I don't know how you give up a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter to a shit team like Pittsburgh, but at home, especially you had to still have a chance to win the division. But yeah, I'm gonna take Cincinnati out.
Yo,
Yeah, I think Cincinnati wins this game. Cincinnati has to win this game because they don't know if they're even going to end up finishing playing that one. So this win might be very big for them, considering they might have a game less. Baltimore is with no Lamar. I agree with Jose. No Lamar, they look terrible, but they are in the playoffs. Do not sleep on this Baltimore team because Lamar will be back in the playoffs. And don't count this team out. Just because they're playing bad right now, that's without him. As soon as he gets back on his lineup, will be a whole different Baltimore team.
yeah, I think Baltimore's locked into the 6th seed. I don't really think this game is that important to them. However, they may end up playing the Bengals again in the playoffs next week, so they may not want to just mail this one in. But I'll take Cincinnati to win this game. The New York Jets against the Miami Dolphins. I believe the winner gets in. Another winner go home game. We have no idea who's starting for the Dolphins. It could be Bridgewater. It could be some guy named Skyler. And the Jets might start Mike White. I would go with Flacco at this point, but who knows? Mike White was awful last week against Seattle. So good luck picking this garbage bowl with these garbage quarterbacks. Jose, what's your best guess?
I'm gonna take Miami out. I think Miami. I think if I'm not mistaken, the Jets are already eliminated. The only teams that are available for the last spots, Miami and New England.
And Pittsburgh.
Actually, yeah, Pittsburgh, correct. Pittsburgh is alive, yeah.
So the Jets are out. So Miami needs to play for this. They need this game more than the Jets. So I'm taking Miami.
Gil.
Yeah, the Jets flopped a lot. They had a good chance to get in there. They had some bad beats with I think they lost 4 in a row or 5.
Yep, 5 in a row.
They were just there. They looked like they were gonna get in there. If they won like 1 or 2 of those games, would have been a different story for them.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what, boys? Miami looks in trouble right now. They lost 5, 6 in a row as well.
5 straight. Yep.
Bridgewater, he's underwater right now. They don't even know if the NFL is going to allow him to play anymore.
Yep.
It is in Miami. You know what? I'm gonna say Miami, but I don't know, man. The Jets might pull an upset, but I'm gonna go with Miami just because they're more hungry. They need it.
I'm going to take the Dolphins. I echo what Gil said. The Jets defense might just get it done, but my God, watching that offense last week, I don't know how they outscore the Dolphins in this one. I mean, Seattle, who has a very similar offense, picked them apart. So I think even with a backup, Dolphins should win this game. And you're correct. The Jets are out. My bad there. It's only Pittsburgh that has an outside shot at getting in. Now we go to 2 teams that have been eliminated. Carolina, who Jose correctly predicted. It only took them 4 or 5 weeks of Jose saying this, but they finally did wake up and have a huge game. Tampa Bay did lock up the division last week. So Carolina goes to New Orleans to take on the Saints in a pretty meaningless game, although the Saints did put a dent in the Eagles' number 1 seed hopes by beating them last week, which was a shocker. So Carolina at New Orleans, God knows what's going to happen in this game. Gil, what's your best guess?
Well, I just want to shout out to Carolina there for Lino's brother, Joe Da Silva. That was a good game. They brought it. They gave it their all to Tampa Bay. Boy, didn't they have them sweating.
Yeah,
Sam
they
Darnold
did.
came out. He slung. They just had a bad fourth quarter because it was right there. It's right there for them to grab. But Brady did his thing. All props to him too. And Evans, they had huge connection there. The Saints, you're right. They woke up too late, but fun to watch as well. Where I even think the Saints should probably go with Tyson Hill next year. They look like that ball moves with him back there. Like when they're 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, he gets those first downs. So
Yeah.
maybe they should think of that too. But overall, I think the New Orleans Saints will win this game.
Jose.
New Orleans Saints will win this game easily. Their defense is way better than Carolina's, and last week you see what they did to Philly. They shut them down. So I'm gonna take New Orleans in this one.
Going to take New Orleans. I like their defense. They've been up and down all year. The quarterback play has really hurt them. I don't know why they went with Andy Dalton for most of the year when they have Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. They really hamstrung their offense by doing that. Their defense has suffered as a result. But Sam Darnold, you got the best and the worst of Sam Darnold. He threw for 341, but his turnovers gave Tampa Bay that game. If not for the turnovers, I think Carolina wins the game. He turned it over deep in their zone twice, set up Brady twice for easy touchdowns, and then Mike Evans just tore them apart. So I think New Orleans wins this game because Carolina is going to be on a down after losing that game. So New Orleans wins and maybe gets a shutout. I agree with Gil. Maybe shutout. Who knows? Now we go to a big game, but one that might not look good for poor Lino da Silva, as the New England Patriots have to go to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Jose, will Lino's team get blown out again by the Bills?
I don't know, man. That's not. I don't say they're gonna get blown out, but like all the shit that's happened with Hamlin and stuff like that, it's gonna take a toll on the team, right? So knowing that the Bills have to win this game to get the first seed overall, when knowing that their teammates injured and stuff and in the hospital, so they're gonna come out and they're gonna try to
Emotional.
It's gonna be an emotional game. Um, the New England Patriots defense will keep it close because their defense is not that bad, but I just don't see their offense keeping up with the Bills. So I'm taking Buffalo on this one.
Gil, will Lino's Patriots be blown out by the Bills to eliminate them again from the playoffs?
Well, I see this going two ways. Or the Bills are just gonna put those patches on their helmets and they're
go
just
crazy.
and all they're gonna see is red in front of them, and this game might be like 34-7 by halftime.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna be on a downer, not into the game, and that might go into the Patriots' favor. I know it's a bad thing to say, but
No, it could happen. Yeah.
the Patriots might have a win situation here with it just depends on which type of Buffalo Bills are going to go on that field because there's going to be the Bills that are going to come on a rampage, and then there's those, or it's going to be they don't feel like playing. They're just not into it. Who knows? And if the Patriots get that Buffalo, the Patriots will pull off the switch. But when I look at Josh Allen, I'm picking this game based off character and the type of person he is. I think he's the type that's going to go out there and see red. So I'm going to take the Bills.
Yeah. I got the Bills as well. I think they're going to be emotionally charged up. The good news we got today about Hamlin will probably help them immensely going into Sunday. If it's snowing, I don't like Mac Jones in the snow. We already saw Mac Jones in the wind. That didn't work out too well. So I got the Bills. Now we go to a meaningless game as the Tampa Bay Bucks, who have clinched their division and can't move up or down, go to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. A very tough game to pick because from what I understand, Tampa Bay is going to start everyone. Jose, are you going back with Tom for this one, or are they going to rest their players after a quarter?
Well, he'll cap a couple of drives, maybe play until like second quarter, halftime, and stuff like that, and then the bench players will come in. These games are tough, man. Like you don't know who's going to be playing, who's in, who's not. But I'm just going to take Tampa Bay. I think the Tampa Bay will. He's starting to roll a little bit now with Evans and stuff like that. I see their offense is starting to step up. Their defense is coming along as well. So they'll set the table for until halftime, and then after they'll just squeak out the game with a running game in the second half. Atlanta's their shit with Riddler and fucking whoever else they have. Like, so I'll take Tampa Bay.
Yo.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tampa wins. Don't be surprised if they might even run Brady into the third quarter, then get him out because playoffs is coming, and Brady's the type of guy, he's about feeling in the rhythm. And the reason if they take them out will just be because of injuries. If it's up to Brady, he'll play the whole game because a lot of them say the rhythm means a lot. Getting rhythm, going into the playoffs with rhythm, right? So
Yeah.
that might play an effect. It's going to be all up to the coach, but I think by when that happens, I think the Tampa Bay will be already a touchdown or two up.
I'm gonna say upset here. I'm gonna take Atlanta because I just don't see Tampa Bay playing most of this game. I know they've said they want to keep the rhythm going, but I just think that they're gonna end up resting some guys, um, especially on the offensive line, especially on defense. I don't think they're gonna play all the defensive players. The offensive players will play, um, but maybe not the whole game. We saw Godwin and Evans get 100-yard games last week. You don't want either one of those guys to get hurt. I think they'll play a half and then rest the guys. And the way Tampa Bay's offense has played this year, the game will be close, and therefore I think Atlanta can squeak it out with a field goal. So I'll take the Falcons in this one. To the Cleveland Browns, who somehow went to Washington. No, I don't know. Not somehow. They have an idiot coach who decided to start Carson Wentz, and Gil Santos had this right on the money. What a dumbass move that was to start this loser. They were only down 3-0, and this guy's throwing picks from everywhere, and they stuck with them the whole game. And now Washington's out and helps kill. What a brilliant decision by Ron Rivera. Should be fired. And when you hear who they're starting this week, you'll understand how dumb he is. Because I have to look this up. This is how hard this is. This guy's name is
Sam Howell. He's good.
some guy named Howell. Okay.
Yes, so he's a run and gun quarterback from North Carolina. He's actually pretty good.
Okay, so
he might end up being their starter next year. Don't be surprised.
Okay, so we'll get to Washington later, but the Browns go to Pittsburgh to take on Steelers. All of a sudden, the Steelers are have a slight chance of getting into the playoffs. So who do you got here, Gil?
You know what's going to be very difficult. Watson got a little bit better. He scrambled a lot on that Washington game. He found Cooper Kupp a couple of times. I think he'll be good for next season. Steelers in the playoff games gonna be up to that defense. Pickett still does a lot of turnovers, still a lot of rookie mistakes. It's at home. Chubbs is gonna be a handful. It's gonna be difficult because it's not the Ravens. So I'm gonna pick the Browns on.
Jose.
I'm taking Pittsburgh. Their defense is playing crazy lately. Their offense is struggling, of course, with Pickett's too, but they're establishing the run game. Najee Harris has been rushing the ball lately very well, and so I'm taking Pittsburgh at home.
I'm going to take the Steelers. I haven't been blown away with Watson. He's kind of underwhelmed me since he's come back. If the Steelers can stop the Browns running game, they can win this game. But my God, it's like picking the worst looking guy. It'll be low scoring and someone hits a field goal to win it at the end. But I'll take Pittsburgh because they need the game. That's it. Now we go to an interesting game that affects Gil Santos. Baker Mayfield and the Rams, who I know Gil will be cheering for the first time in his life, go to Seattle to take on the Seabags. The reason why this is important is because the Seabags can still get into the playoffs, but they need a Detroit win to do it. So, having said that, Gil, who do you got in this one?
Well, I got the Rams, and not just because of the playoffs, because I couldn't care less, because we own our own destiny. So even if they win and I beat the Lions, it doesn't matter. We're in. And we'll get back to that in a second, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna take the Rams because Baker Mayfield, with even nobody around him, is actually doing well in that LA Ram offense, and he's fighting for a playoff. He's playing for a starting job. He might even start there. They're saying because it depends on how Stanford's neck or whatever injury he had.
Yeah.
They're saying they don't even know if Stanford can play next year.
Yeah.
So he's fighting for a job there or somewhere else, showing that he can still play.
Yeah.
So, and Seattle, to me, they have to win, but I don't know. I just feel like Baker's playing light, loose, and he's there to cause some damage.
Jose?
Tough game to pick. I heard that, I don't know if it's true or not, but that Matt Stafford was gonna come play this game because he supposedly he's starting this game because he wants to help out the Detroit Lions make the playoffs. I don't know if it's true or not. I heard this report.
That's that has to be an April Fool's, man, because
That's
this
not
guy,
true.
they don't even know if this guy can play football again.
I mean, he was cleared. They said that he was cleared and he could be able to play this game against things. But anyways, I don't trust Baker Mayfield. He's been still doing all right, but Seattle's run game is too good, and I think Seattle's run game will win them this game. So I'm taking Seattle.
I'm going to take the Sea Bags only because I loved what I saw against the Jets, and the Jets are better than the Rams. So I'll take the Sea Bags in this one. I do like what I've seen from Baker. He may start the season with the Rams next year because I agree. I don't think Stafford may not play to start next year. I don't think he's cleared. I don't think he's ready. They're already talking about him retiring. He had to come out and say, I'm not retiring. So he has a neck issue, and you never know with a neck issue if you'll be able to throw the ball again. I think Peyton Manning missed 2 years with that kind of injury. So we'll see how bad it is. Yeah, I got Seattle in this one. Now we go to the Chargers, who suddenly are a red-hot sleeping giant of a team that Jose has pointed out. They go on to be able to take on the crying Russell Wilson Denver Broncos. Despite the loss, Russell Wilson cried after his press conference, talking about how he's happy that his teammates defended him right after the coach got fired. To me, they're a bunch of pussies. But anyway, Gil, who do you like?
I think the Chargers have locked in their spot. I don't think they can go up and down either.
Correct.
I'm gonna, based on what I saw last week from the Broncos, I think they're gonna play loose. They're playing for momentum. Guys are playing for the jobs. I'm gonna go with the Broncos.
Jose?
I'm gonna agree with Gil. I think the Chargers, they don't need this game, so they're probably gonna have a couple of drives with their main guys, and then they're gonna rest up all their main superstars. So, and Denver's gonna play with all their guys, and they're all playing for jobs next year too. So, I'm taking Denver in this one.
Okay. Baltimore could go ahead of the Chargers, from what I can see. And so therefore I will take the Chargers because I still think the Chargers want to be the first wild card and the second wild card. Plus, just out of spite for how awful the Broncos have been this year, I'll take the Chargers. I don't think I'm going to have to waste too much time in this game. The Giants are at Philadelphia. The Giants aren't playing anyone. Philly's playing Hurts and is going for the number 1 seed. Jose.
The Giants might play their starters a couple of drives too, but I see Philly winning this. Hurts is supposed to come back, and Hurts on that offense it's a total different animal. So I'm taking Philly to win the game.
Yo.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Philly as well. But I know the Giants would love to play spoilers, especially on a divisional game like this. But they gotta think of playoffs. I think they might rest some of their guys.
I have Philly winning this game. I have no other explanation. They get Hurts back, they win. Another game I will not spend any time on at all, as some guy named McSorley goes to San Francisco to take on an angry San Francisco 49ers defense that is fighting for the number 1 or number 2 seed. Jose?
San Fran, but Arizona covers the 14 points spread.
Yo.
San Fran. I don't even know if it's going to be McSorley. They might go with David Bluff.
Oh, that's right. David Blau. That's right.
David Blau to test him out. This is, I don't know, Jose, just based off that, I don't even see Blau scoring at all, man. That Arizona team is just disorganized. I don't even think they're playing for pride. They're all mad at each other, and they're not even there for each other anymore. So I think the Niners give a beatdown.
Brock Purdy would be the rookie of the year if he started the season. He's been that good. You see what happens with the 49ers when they don't have Nick Bosa. It's a totally different defense when they don't have Nick Bosa rushing the passer, because then the secondary can be exposed, and Jared Stidham completely exposed our secondary. So I'm praying to God that our MVP, Nick Bosa, is in the lineup, because if he's not, we're in a lot of trouble against some of these NFC teams. However, San Fran wins this game. I'm going to say 37-13. It will be a beatdown. And they will finish second or third based on Minnesota's result. So no issue there. Now we go to Dallas, who are hanging on and hoping that the Eagles choke so they can win the division. Outside chance of getting the number 1 seed. They go to Washington to take on Howard. Is that his name? Howard?
Howell.
Yes. Howell and the end of Ron Rivera's career as a commander. Gil, who do you got?
Well, it'll be tough because this Howell kid's gonna show, because watched him play college, great kid. He can throw down the field very well. And he's gonna show, he's gonna use this game to show that he can be a starter next year for them. But I just think the Cowboys have that edge on defense. They need it, they want it. So I think the Cowboys are gonna win. But boy, Rivera, when they even did the press conference and they said you're out of the playoffs, he looked confused. He didn't even know what was going on.
He
That was
didn't
a
even
joke.
know what was going on.
That was
It
a
was
joke. I would have fired. If I was the GM, that guy says that on TV, I would have fired him. Didn't even know if his team's in or out.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to talk about that on what's bothering us, because that guy's a moron. Jose.
Dallas in a close game. I think Washington will give him a good game, but Dallas will squeak it up.
Dallas wins. Dallas just likes to play these games close. I don't know why. Although they did pound Washington last year like 56-17 one of these games. So they might just blow them out because it's the last game of the year. Dallas seems to like blowing out teams for no reason at the end of the year. Dallas will win the game. I'm not sure about the spread. I'll say this about Dallas. They better be very, very scared, because it looks like they're going to take on the GOAT in round 1. And that's just setting up for a choke job and a half. So if I'm Dallas, I'm getting ready for Tom Brady and never mind this game. And now to the main event. The Detroit Lions and Super Bowl quarterback Jared Goff goes to Green Bay to take on Gil Santos and the 2 Aarons and Jair Alexander. And Gil Santos, you should have beat this team when you played them the last time. But Aaron Rodgers decided to throw 2 red zone picks. What will happen this time, Gil?
Well, you can't plan it any better. Playing good football in Lambeau, not in Detroit. It's in Lambeau. The weather's in their favor. Not going to be easy for Detroit. I was watching that Minnesota game, and boy, I thought I was watching the San Francisco 49ers defense. I seen picks, fumbles, kickoff returns, punt blocks.
That's Kirk Cousins, Gil. That's not your defense. That's Kirk Cousins.
Well, you got to give them credit though, where it's due. They did it. Sacks. It was I was even had to rub my eyes. Was this the Niners defense or what?
You know it's Kirk Cousins, Gil. You know that's why. It's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Well, Brian, my condolences. It was round 1, you kicked the crap out of me, but boy, then we pay you back. Yeah, I have to go with the Packers. They did throw all this work to come to this far and lose to the Lions at home. No. The other thing is what I was gonna get to. The NFL kind of screwed up on this. If you look at the schedule well, the Green Bay Packer game with the Detroit Lions should be playing at 4:30.
I agree.
With that Seattle game, and I'll tell you why.
I agree.
At 4:30, if Seattle wins, Detroit
is out.
So yeah. Detroit, even if they beat the Packers, they're out. So
that's right.
If the Rams if Seattle beats the Rams, Detroit now has nothing to play for, even the Green Bay game.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to make it at 8:15.
So this game should have been played at the same time, because now Detroit, if they know Seattle wins, they know they're out. They can't pass Seattle. They'll just kick out Green Bay, but Seattle will get the spot.
Yeah.
I
I
think
agree.
the NFL screwed up on this scheduling.
Jose, who do you got?
I got Green Bay. I think that Detroit's not a good road team. They've been struggling on the road. They got smoked by Carolina a couple weeks ago. And Green Bay's playing well, so I'm taking Green Bay in this one.
Yeah, we got about a minute left. Quickly, I got Green Bay, and I got Green Bay because Detroit's run defense is awful. They allow 340 yards to Carolina. Imagine what Green Bay's running game is going to do in this. It's going to be all running all day, and I think Green Bay wins fairly easily. So that's our picks for this week, but we will be back with what's bothering us, where we're going to get into the juicy talk about last week's games. I also got some stuff on my mind that I want to talk about. But until then, I'm the mouth of North Andrews. That's Jose Carlos Gomes, and that's Green Bay, GilBay Santos. We'll be back on the Reese Report.